Hi, yeah, so welcome back. We're going to carry on with our autumnal themed journal that we started last week. We'll do a little bit more work in that. So I think I'm going to go with the Cinderella front. Having taken advice and asked opinion, I think that's what we're going to go with at the front. So that's what we're going to have on the front cover. We're going to have the orange fabric as the spine. And then we're going to have this as the sort of lining for in here. So first things first, I've got the signatures with me. We're going to do 2 signatures. I haven't sort of organised them as such, but I've got my sewing machine out, so I'm going to do a little bit of stitching. Just a few of the pocket pages that we've folded over. So I go through. So yeah, so this is going to be one of them. So this is some ledger paper, and we're just going to stitch top and bottom. So I'm just going to do that. If I can get to my pedal now. So just excuse me one moment. Excuse the noise. I'm just going to do a tiny little zigzag stitch, I think. Just to pin that in place. And I've got a cream thread in because I don't want it to be too, I don't want it to stand out too much. Okay, so that's top and bottom. Just a little zigzag stitch just to hold that in place, and then we can put some ephemera in there. And it's the wallpaper page. That's the vintage envelope, so that's going to be a page. Don't think I need to do anything on that one. That's the papyrus paper, so I'm just going to run I'm going to do a zigzag stitch again. So I'm just going to run down either side of this one just to hold that pocket up. So that's one. And 2. So you can see, and that means that our pockets are nice and secure. I never stitch in the middle because obviously it's going to be sewn into the signature anyway, but I think it puts too much strain on the paper, sort of repeatedly stitching through, so we'll leave that. And then is that it for this signature? I put an extra few pieces of coffee, well, this is avocado dyed, and I think that one might be onion skin actually. Papers in there, just some plainer pages just to fill the signatures up a bit. So that's that one. And I think same again, we've got the ledger paper, so just top and bottom, a quick stitch with the cream thread, nothing too outrageous. I'm sorry if it's a bit dark today. We've got a storm a-brewing apparently. So that one's all right as it is. So it's quite dark, and it's going to start raining just as I go to pick up the children from school. So that's nice. I might leave that one as a little flippy flappy actually. So there might just be the one sort of pre-made little pocket in this one, and they're just plain. Okay. So that's that. So that's just a little bit of stitching on those. Now, I've got some trim that I've pulled out, just some pretty sort of whites and ivories that we're going to use for the edges of some pages, but I think I'm going to glue all the trim in. Sometimes I stitch, sometimes I glue, but I think I'm just going to glue all the trim. So I'm going to do that after we've constructed the journal, when we can sort of get a feel for what we're doing. So that's that. I'm going to pop my sewing machine back out of the way, put these to one side. We'll have a think what we're going to do with the front. I've got some of this, quite a large piece of sort of pretty antique that side fabric that I might put behind. I might just tear a bit off and put it behind this, and then onto this sort of Do you see where I'm going with that? Obviously not so much, but yeah, so I've got that to one side as well to take a look at. So let's do the inner pages, the inner pieces of this. So that way. So I just want, I'm going to just try not to knock the camera, which I did. I'm just going to tear down this edge because I want to use that top edge. I don't want the little white bit where it's printed. So I'm going to zoom you in a little bit now. So I'm just going to tear I can't figure out which way that goes. That way, I think. I'm just going to tear it down. I'm not going to do anything particularly precise. We're just going to tear it and give it a nice rough edge. So I can kind of feel where that is. There we are. And then a bit at the bottom. So that'll be for that one. And then I want the floral, so I'm going to go the bottom edge on this one. I mean, this is very me guessing, but never mind. And then somewhere near the top. Ish. That'll do. Right, and then we're just going to get some glue. Now, before I stick them in, what we need to decide is what the signature is going to be attached to and whether we want whatever it's attached to be hidden by these pieces. So, because I'm thinking some plain orange for the inside. If I can get any of that plain orange. Either side. Or maybe I go for a different piece for the inside. Yeah, I'll use a different piece for the inside. Now the spine on the outside shouldn't affect those. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave those pieces actually. I think I want the fabric that the signatures are attached to when we glue it onto these to be glued down. So let's say it's sort of that width in the middle. Then I want these pieces over just to hide that, I think. Even though they are quite thin, I think we'll go with that. So I'm going to leave those pieces, but we could get the outside spine done now. So I'm going to see if this will tear, because I like a torn edge on my fabric. So, but it's sort of curtain fabric, so it doesn't always tear very well. It might be a bit too much. Although I don't mind that. Let's see if I can get a tear in this side. I might end up having to use a completely different piece of fabric at this rate. That's all right. Keep all of that. So I don't think we're going to get torn edges up here if I have a practice. No, it's just pulling all the threads out. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. So that's cool. So I'm glad I checked that. How big do we want this? So let me grab the signatures back and the covers. So we want a bit of growth in this. We want some room for it to bloom out a little bit. So I think I might do it on like a 2-inch spine to give it plenty of room. and then an extra 1/2 inch either side. So let's cut a 3-inch piece down. Do I want that in the middle? Do I care? Am I bothered? Am I bothered though? Don't think I'm that bothered. So about there-ish. That'll do. That'll do. And then let's just attach it, shall we? Let's just bob it down, and then we've got that bit done as well. So I'm just going to add, we said we left sort of 1/2 inch either side, so I'm going to put like a 1/2 inch bit of glue here. So I'm using the Fabri-Tac, the 3-in-1 stuff that's like Fabri-Tac. Smush it down with your finger and then pop that on there. And then we'll do the same. Where's my other one with this piece? So we want, I feel like that's more sort of the outer edge. Another 1/2 inch smush of glue. There we are. And then same again, I'm just going to stick that down. I don't mind that it's not straight. I don't mind that it's a little bit wonky, a bit rustic, because that's kind of, I don't like precise particularly. Some things I do, but on the whole I don't like overly precise. It's not really me. I like them a bit rough and ready, and with the homemade look, shall we say. So those are my signatures that I need to order, and that's going to be kind of how they'll sit. So you see the fabric, actually, because it's going to curve around as well, it sort of helps make this area a little bit bigger, and then when it comes to this, it will overlap onto the spine, but that's cool. I don't mind that. I quite like that. We're going to have bits of trim sticking out and bits sticking up. Right, should we try and order these pages? How far have we? 13 minutes, right. So I'm going to I've got that as my sort of outer page, which is quite pretty. These are going to be huge signatures. I don't know if I should perhaps have done a third and split these up a little bit, but hey ho, let's run with it. So she be chunky, it's fine, it's fine. Let's have some smaller pages. I try and mix sort of the neutral papers and then a bit of colour, but I'm doing it sort of majority neutral, this one, really. There aren't any particularly bright pages. I'm going to put floral in there. That's about as bright as we've got in this one. It's quite a neutral journal, which I like. I like that. So I'm going to stick the envelope in there. So we've got some pockets, and then pop another pink page in just to break it up a little bit. We'll have a bit of that in there. What have we got left? We've got the darker paper. Let's have that there, a bit more neutral. Love that page. It's super brittle, but I really like it. And then we'll have a lined paper. I'm just trying to break up the pockets as well, actually. So let's have the papyrus and then a lined paper. I think I'm going to have that in the middle because he's pretty. Or should I have it that way? Should we fold it that way? Because I really like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to have it like that. And then the wallpaper piece, some more neutral. I want that on the top. And then a pink. Oh, I've got 2 pinks there. Right, I'm going to have to find another home for one of these pinks. And then that in the middle. So I've got a run of sort of neutral pages somewhere. Haven't really, have I? Should pop it there. Let's pop it in there. Okay. I hope you saw all that. I've just realised I'm not quite on camera there, but that's one. So that's going to be the first signature. And I'm just going to grab some giant paper clips and just hold that together. And then the next one, it's the same again. Some taller pieces. We'll start with a pink, I think. And same, oh no, I have done that on the inside. Oh no, that's right, so I want it that way. Yeah, I think I want that for the middle again. So just put that to one side. And let's get some neutral pages. That one. I'll have a pockety page. And then a pink. Gosh, there's quite a few pink in this signature. Seems to be more than in the other one. Anyway, try and ignore the OCD tendencies to suddenly start counting and making sure that they're even. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I think I want these 2 together, so perhaps we'll have them. And then one of the lighter pinky colours. And let's have the envelope that way. And then you want a larger piece just to sort of hold that in. I feel that we better have another pink page. That one, that one, that one. Then we're going to have to go purple ledger. There we are. And we'll pop a clip on there. Okay, so those are going to be the signatures. That's going to be the cover. If I sort of hook that over, something like that. I like it. I do like it. Right, okay. So, shall we... What am I on? 18 minutes. Shall we attach these signatures then, do we think? Yes. Right, I'm just going to go and grab another piece of fabric to stick these to. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. So I've just grabbed... I have sort of hanging up in my little tiny room a big strip of coloured, just thinner pieces of fabric. So this is just a cotton, but it's in rainbow colours, so I can usually get a similar colour to the one that I have in my mind. So will that size be tall enough? Yeah, we'll save the good piece, stick that over there. Cut a bit of this down, cut you off, and cut the edging off. Okay, so that should work. Okay, cool. So what I need to do then is I'm going to get myself a couple of pieces of paper and I need to just draw a little template. So it needs to fit between these 2 pieces. Now I feel like that one's not entirely straight. unless it's this throwing me off. I'm trying desperately not to knock this camera. Where's that ruler gone? Where are you, ruler? Have I eaten it? Have I thrown it in the bin? Have I hidden it? Is it in front of my face? It's in front of my face. How many of you are screaming at the camera then going, it's there? For God's sake. Right, so just over 2 inch. Yeah, I've got about an 1/8 of an inch difference top and bottom there. So I might just try and pull that out slightly. Okay. So we're just going to remove it instead and reattach. That's all right. Okay. The sensible thing would have been to measure again before I shoved it down, but who likes sensible, eh? So that's 2 1/4, 2 1/4. Better. Okay. Cool. Right, that's better. So try that again, shall we? That's after I give you the whole I don't measure lecture. So this is the only bit we should measure on, really. So I'm just going to cut a piece of paper that is the size of the spine that I want to work with. So I'm just doing this. I mean, it is still, I'm not actually measuring. I'm just sort of using this as a guideline. And then I want one that big. Because I'm going to use one piece to stick on the, beautiful, to stick on the back of this piece of fabric that will then attach to there when I create my spine. And I'm going to use another piece to use as my stabby template because it's just, I find that easier. So same again, I'm just going to fold it and tear it. And fold and tear it. My word, it looks like it's going to absolutely sile it down outside. I think it might be spitting now, but that's probably because I've got to pick the kids up in just under an hour. Yay. I only live 5 minutes away from the school, for anyone that wonders why I leave it till like 5 minutes before school time to actually end my videos. Yeah, I am quite close to do. Just abandoning my kids so I can just sew in one more signature. Right, so I've just folded this in half, and this is going to sit in the middle of the signatures when I do the stabby templates. So I need to work out, fold this one in half as well, where I want this. I want them to be evenly placed. I don't want them to be you know, one right at the front and one miles away. Why aren't you folding? You're folding horribly. Right, so that's kind of the middle. And then I'm going to do, if I get a centre point, I think I'm going to do 1 centimetre either side of that. I think so. I don't know why I drew a line that way. So just going to mark, get off out the way. I'm going to mark the middle. Sometimes that's just easier. So see what you're doing. So find the middle. I'm going to have one there and one there. And I'm just going to mark that point a few spots so I can get them straightish. And I can draw myself a nice straight line down that side. It's not very straight, is it? Straightish, I said. And then, where's that piece gone? Oh, there. Okay. And then we'll do sort of, because it's we've got lots of small pages, I'm going to definitely do a 5 hole pamphlet stitch, because I want to make sure that I catch all the smaller pages. Now you could measure all the way down. I'm not measuring at all. I'm just making sure they're even on both sides. What's that? So those points are going to be where I'm going to stitch. So they're not, I mean, they're not evenly spaced out, as I say, but they are the same either side. So what I do with this one then, we need to choose a top as well. Nothing more annoying than when you stick them in upside down, or you do one the right way and one upside down, and then you've got them like, oh yeah, we've all been there. Let's move that up actually. And then I'm just going to transfer the marks onto my guide. Fold that the other way, and then I know exactly where I need to punch. So this will stick on here. It's the same both sides, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to shove a decent bit of glue on this. Some people do this differently. Some people don't bother with the piece of paper. Some people would just punch the holes into the fabric. I just find that when you've got a bit of paper on there, the fabric can sometimes almost close back up. So having the paper just helps the holes stay open. So I'm going to try and get that in the middle. That looks about right. Pull the glue off my finger because it drives me mad. And just make sure we've got that properly stuck. There we go. So that will be the centre. Now, what we can do then, what are we on? 10 minutes onto it. Right, okay, so I'll get a wiggle on with this. So what we could do then is punch our holes at each point. And we should be able, yeah, you can see those quite clearly, I think, through the other side. The next journal I'm going to do after this one is going to be a spooky Halloween one, by the way, which I'm super excited about because I love me a bit of spooky. There we are. Yeah, love a bit of spookiness. So we're going to create a Halloween journal and hopefully some Halloween ephemera packs as well. But we shall see. Right, now what I didn't do on this was mark the top on my template, which was very silly of me. So I'm just going to turn it around, make sure I've got the right way again. So I don't know if you can see that. I've just turned it around, make sure that I know which one's which, and that's the top of the page. So I've got my signature, I've put it in my little cradle. You don't have to use a cradle, you can use just a book, just open a book out, or you can just hold it flat. It's entirely up to you. As I flick through my pages, I'm just making sure that they're all facing the right way. And that side, if you see that, is going to be my top. So just making sure my pockets are in the right way, if I've got any pages with writing, that I've done them the right way. And then I'm going to get my big paper clips These were like the best buy ever. These were just from Amazon. So handy, a massive thing of them. And just hold them in place, and then I'm sticking this in the middle, and I'm going to make sure I push it right down. Now I can see, obviously my pages are going to be slightly bigger than my template, so I'm just going to make sure I center this as best I can, and I will do the same with the other signature. Pull. And I'm just punching those holes along where the template tells me. Oh, giving it some welly there. And that's that one. And that one's punched. And that's our front signature. And then this one, same again. I'm going to make sure everything is facing the way that I want it to be facing. There's nothing missed. Everything's positioned where I want it to be. And then there I am in the centre. I'm going to stick the big paper clips back on. Make sure I've got that right round the back. Put my template in, and again I'm going to kind of position this somewhere in the middle, knowing where my signature is going to be. There we go. I think I'm happy with that. And 1, 2, so they're going to be exactly the same spot. 3. If you're like me and you have your pages overhanging, you do have sort of a bit of a room for error. Then it doesn't really matter if your pages are, you know, slightly, you know, a couple of millimeters either side. You know, if you were to put them together side by side, you know, your holes are the same, but your pages, it doesn't matter. So if you were to have done them slightly wonky, it doesn't really matter because your pages are all in and out anyway, if you know what I'm saying. But it's best to try and do it right. So let's stitch them in, and then we'll call that a day. Now, for those that don't know, anybody that's new to this, you measure roughly 3 times the length of your signature. That tells you how much thread to use. I'm using waxed linen thread, and I always start with the back signature. I don't really know why, but I do. So this is my back signature. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to make sure that I'm stitching into this side of it, because that paper side is going to stick to here, my spine. So I'm going to thread that through, holding the tail in the middle, and then stitch in as normal. So I'm going this way first. Can I get that in there? And do not be fooled, this is as fiddly for me, who's done this for a while now, as it is for someone who's done it for 30 years, as it is for someone who's done it for 5 minutes. It's a pain in the bum. You just kind of learn to get less irritated by it. There is no non-fiddly way to do this. And now I can't find my hole, finding the middle, there it is. You can pull them all tightly afterwards, so don't worry too much about pulling your threads super tight as you're going along. I mean, if you can, obviously happy days, but don't worry about it if you're not. Just make sure you don't lose that tail, because or your needle, because then your first stitch will come out. And then back in the center. There we go. Right, so make sure you've got your 2 tails that have come back in, one of them hugging either side. I hope that wasn't too confusing to watch if you're not used to stitching in. I mean, there's no right or wrong way really, as long as you get through every hole and it's secure, who cares, you know, as long as it's stuck in. Don't let people tell you you've got to do it in a figure of 8 or an S shape, or do the top then the bottom, or the bottom then the top. You just stitch it in. Right, that's signature number 1. What I like to do then is just pin my pages together, just so you've not got as many pages flapping about, and then that's a bit easy to manage. So I'll do that again. So we measure 3 times, if you can see that, the length of the book roughly, and that's kind of how much thread you want so as to not waste any. Thread your needle, and then I will start in the middle and through the middle, and then you can go top or bottom. It does not make any difference which way you do it. Just do not lose that tail on the inside. Try and keep a thumb on it. So I'm going to go next hole down, back to the, I can get it through without tearing that page, the middle, and out the bottom. So I'm just making sure every link between the holes has got some thread by the end of it. So then I'm going to go back in to my next hole that I went into. This is where it starts to get tricky. There. Try not to split your thread as you're coming back in as well, because that can be a pain to try and rectify. And then I'm going to go back out this one. I'm turning it around just so I can get to the other side. And now I'm in my bottom, the very lowest hole. There we are, the bottom hole. Out again, and I will end up in the middle. Come on, there it is, there it is. Pull it nice and tight. Make sure pick that back up, make sure one of my threads is either side of that center line. Make sure it's nice and tight on the back, and double knot. Was that even a knot? That wasn't even a knot. What was that? Just tighten it up. And then you can leave these long if you want to add some sort of little bead dangles or something to it, or you can cut them right short. It's up to you. And then I'm just sticking that clip back on just to hold everything together. So those are my 2 signatures. So what I'm going to do now, super quick before we go, is I'm going to glue them in like so. So I'm going to add lots of glue here. I'm not so fussed about sticking the fabricy bits on this just to start with. We're just going to get the main of it stuck in, because they can just be adhered down afterwards. So I'm putting loads of glue on. It's fabric glue, which is good for paper or fabric, because obviously that's what I'm sticking it to. And I'm applying it very, very liberally. I'm applying it to the paper rather than the fabric, because what I don't want to happen is I don't want the glue to seep through, which is another reason why you should smush it. Because if you smush it and then you get rid of any big globules, you'll find it won't seep through as much onto your fabric, if at all. It might do a smidge, but you know, not much you can do about it. So I'm just going to turn this round, line it up, make sure I'm happy with both sides. And then what you can use, if I can just grab one, is a bone folder, just to Really press it down, really burnish it, both sides. And don't forget to do in the middle as well. Just smooth it out, get rid of any lumps. And that should be that. And what I try and do then is have my pages like that and leave that stood up while it dries, and then I will glue these extra little bits down. And that's that. So I'm going to get a couple of pots and just pin it up here whilst that dries properly, and then we'll work on it from there. Right, cool. So I'll leave it there then, because I think I've waffled on for quite a while there, and it's nearly school pick time. Right, thank you for joining me, and it's new nail day today as well. I'm going to get these changed because I got bored and picked a bit off there. So I'll see you tomorrow with my new nails. Okay, bye bye.